Now, of course, we've had a meeting of two foreign leaders. One speaks American, the other speaks Russian, and I suppose you could say that generally a breakdown in communication can always lead to misunderstandings between two countries. Never helps if the two countries speak different languages. Well, somebody who knows all about that is my next guest here, right close to the Kremlin, and it is Viktor Sukhodrev. He's a personal interpreter.
Has been.
You have been. Absolutely sorry about that. You've been an interpreter for Mikhail Gorbachev, also Leonid Brezhnev, and Khrushchev. What an amazing
yes, you're
career.
counting from back to front.
I am, but we all know who they are. We know roughly which. I have to say that you've just appeared, and I'm reading my notes. But anyway, tell us, a fascinating job that you've had in the past. You've met some major people, obviously, Soviet and Western leaders. What do you think about Obama and Medvedev?
Well, let me just say for the record that I have personally known 8 American presidents and every Soviet leader from Khrushchev to Gorbachev. I don't know them now because I'm retired, but I have, of course, with a touch of nostalgia, been watching on TV all there is to see. I've been hopping from channel to channel, and yours included, of course, and to watch all the nuances of Obama's visit to this country. And frankly, I have a very good impression. I'm fascinated. I like to watch Obama, and first and foremost, I like to see 2 presidents, one of which speaks perfect Russian, which not all Russian heads of state have done in the past. And also, there was Khrushchev, who was very earthy, and there was Brezhnev, who did nothing but read prepared statements. So there was Gorbachev, who was frequently very convoluted and hard to really fathom what he was really trying to say, because he used too many words to spell out something simple that he had in mind. Now, also, I like listening to Obama because I think he speaks a very good American English. I can compare him, of the presidents that I have met, to Kennedy, who also had a wonderful sort of lawyer type and very literary American English, and spoke the perfect language, which is very important, which again cannot be said for every American president.
I know you're not a translator now, but it would be doing translators out of a job. But will we ever see Russian leaders speaking in public in English? Because it very rarely happens. In fact, I saw Putin speak English once when the Russians won the Sochi Winter Olympics, for example.
Yes, that's right. But I think he learned his speech. I don't think he's so hot in English, although I know that he's very good in German, which of course was his main language when he was still studying at the KGB Institute, and that provides a very good linguistic training.
Does Medvedev have good English?
I don't know. I haven't the foggiest, but I can see them sometimes. For one thing, during yesterday's briefing, I saw Medvedev take off his earphone now and again and simply listen to Obama directly. So I gather that he can understand. Also, I saw them have a little sort of exchange during one of the signing ceremonies when the 2 military guys were signing their thing. And so I gather that he can speak. How well, I don't know.
Can I just ask you, we're seeing modern-day politicians here in Russia now, and then when we look back at the likes of Khrushchev and Brezhnev, just how different are they in character?
Well, they're very different, but you're talking about today, you're talking about, and we're in the case of Putin too, you're talking about people who are belong to an entirely new generation of Soviet, then Russian politicians. And today, when I watch your program, for instance, I'm fascinated by the number of Russian members of parliament, members of the government, who are able to explain themselves in pretty good English. Accented, okay, but still pretty good English.
Just about to touch on that point, accented. You obviously are a Russian, and yet you've got a perfect English accent, and yet you obviously plied your trade during the Soviet era. So where did you get that from?
Well, for one thing, the accent I'm using now is I hope you will recognize as British.
Yes, absolutely.
Because that's what you are. Yeah. You're a Brit. If you were an American, I would use an American accent.
Really?
Yes, and that is in fact what I did, because I mean, apart from translating for sundry American presidents, I also translated for many British prime ministers and foreign ministers, starting from Harold Macmillan, way back. So I would switch from the one accent to the other, depending on who my customers were.
Did you become friends with your customers? Did you get to know them?
I would be presumptuous if I said I became friends.
But did you
That's
spend a
too
lot of
much.
time with them? I think?
Yes. I was on very good terms, let me put it that way, with someone like Nixon, because I spent many days with him when he was in Russia in 72 and 74, and of course when Brezhnev went to the United States as his guest
And you were
in
privy to some
73.
incredibly secret moments, meetings,
Well, that
an
is-
extraordinary experience.
That is the fate, or the destiny, should I say, of all interpreters. That's where you are. You're the man in the middle. I mean, of course you're privy to all that they're talking about.
Excuse the pun, but have there ever been times when things have been lost in translation, where there's been a misunderstanding?
No. I would say that if you're talking about someone who translates at that level, there cannot be, nothing can or should be lost in translation. Now, that is out of the question.
And how much preparation would you get, for example, before an event where you did some translation, or do you literally do it off the cuff?
No, of course not. To be able to translate at something as responsible as a high level, a summit meeting between two leaders, you have to be privy to all of the briefs that your man gets from the foreign ministry, the defense ministry, the security organization, whatever. You have to be abreast. You have to know your position. You have to know numbers if you're talking about missiles and warheads and things like that. You have to know the throw weight, and I could bombard you with all sorts of technical issues related to disarmament, nuclear disarmament in particular. You have to know it. You have to be abreast of it. You have to understand what you're talking about, and that goes for everything else. In fact, I mean, whether it's the Middle East or African problems or whatever, or terrorism, and even things like trade and commerce, and everything that they discuss is something that you should be aware of.
Could talk to you all afternoon. Fascinating. Thank you very much. Viktor Sukhotrev, I hope I pronounced your surname well enough.
You do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Nice to be here.
And, well, thank you. Thanks for your